here on Bay Radio, James Stirling joins me again this week. How are you, James?
I'm very well, thanks, Howard. How's things?
I'm well. Well, we're going to continue talking us through the Blevins Franks Financial Peace of Mind journey. Last week, he introduced Blevins Franks' 5-step approach and talked us through the wealth plan stage. Today we move on to step 2, which is tax optimization. But first, James, for people who missed last week's discussion, can you briefly explain the peace of mind concept and what a health plan is?
Yeah, absolutely. So last week we provided an introduction to the peace of mind journey that we have here at Blevins Franks. And for me, this is a key distinction of different parts of the process that we go through for all our clients, whether you're moving to Spain or you're moving to any other countries that we operate in. Last week we focused on the wealth plan. So what is a wealth plan? Well, very quickly, the real key of a wealth plan is to enable a client to visualize their financial circumstances in a very simple way, and then basically gain more information from it to look at their spending in retirement or how much they need to save to retirement. And what it enables them to do is have a significant amount more information to then allow them to have the confidence to go and make all the decisions that they'd like to financially. So from my perspective and as a business, it's an integral starting point of this journey.
Thanks, James. So, on to step 2.
So, step 2, it's a less exciting part of it, but I would say it's a very important part of it, and that's your tax optimization strategy.
So what sort of tax questions can you help clients answer?
For me, typically you'll find that clients will have had a financial advisor in the UK, and their circumstances will be set up very well for the UK. But when we look at Spain, for example, we obviously have a very different tax structure here, and the products that are available in the UK are not typically the most tax efficient for the structure in Spain. So what are the key questions? Well, the number one is, if you move to Spain and change nothing, how much general income tax will you pay and how much savings tax will you pay? So what we're able to do is to start there and say, like for like, if you were to move to Spain, is this going to change your tax burden significantly? The other part to it is, are there changes that we can make to the structure of your investments or assets to ensure that we're making the split of your income as efficient as possible, whether that's between you and your partner or it's between different assets, between the general income and the savings income? But the other part to it is within Spain, to have a conversation. All autonomous regions have a different set of general income tax rules, and also solidarity and wealth tax differs between country. So what's really key is, and something I say, I've been speaking to a number of financial advisors in the UK this week about how much time should we introduce a client to you so that things are efficient as possible. And I always say, give us as much time as possible. Because if a client hasn't decided which autonomous region in Spain is right for them, then giving them more information on the likely tax in a number of different regions gives them more information in order to make good decisions.
Can strategic tax planning make a significant difference to one's tax liabilities in Spain?
The answer to that is absolutely yes. I think the key starting point, as I said in the previous answer, is there's a number of different autonomous regions in Spain with very different set of tax rulings. And therefore, choosing an autonomous region that suits you to begin with, if you like it, and the tax situation is a really good starting point. But the other part to it is, if you didn't change your UK structure and just moved to Spain, it's likely to be very inefficient. So what we're able to do that makes a significant difference is to understand in detail your current income strategy, and then through a full analysis, what can we move if possible, what can't we move, And then what we're able to do is to optimize your tax strategy in a way that is going to suit you in terms of the income, but is also ensuring that it's as efficient as possible for the Spanish tax regime.
Conversely, if people don't have full information or don't make the right decisions, could it be very costly for them?
Yes, and I've seen this time and time again, unfortunately. There is a very big difference between, I would say, the HMRC's view of inconsistencies or a lack of understanding and the haciendas. From a hacienda perspective, I always advise clients to be as transparent as possible with them and ensure that their accounts are done correctly through a qualified accountant in an efficient manner. Because the last thing you want in your retirement is the hacienda knocking on your door and basically saying this should have been declared or this was misdeclared. Because in my experience, when they look into one thing, they'll typically look into absolutely everything. And the fines, there's two parts to it. So there's late fees and then there's fines and interest. So if you do make a significant error in your retirement and there are late fees and interest attached to it, if you'd spoken with a company like Blevins Franks to begin with, who was able to point you in the right direction of a good accountant and just ensure that you're aware of all your obligations, then paying for the advice is absolutely critical and ensures you against any of these problems appearing later in life.
I understand the Blevins Franks website, blevinsfranks.com, underwent a sort of spring cleaning operation recently. Is that right?
It is indeed. So over the last 2 weeks, we've spoke about the Peace of Mind journey. If you would like more information on this or any more information on the countries in which you're potentially looking to explore, then you can go to blevinsfranks.com and there you can find full details on the journey we've spoken about, but also there's some very helpful tax guides that you can download from there.
Many thanks. Some people say the journey's more important than the arrival, don't they?
They do indeed.
Many thanks.